During my own 32nd birthday celebration, my girlfriend remarked, "I can't share this photo. You appear less affluent beside me." I responded, "All right." Then I rose, grabbed the microphone, and displayed to everyone the earlier images of her that I had kept. Images from before I covered the costs of her vehicle, her residence, and her facial surgery. This wasn't the way I envisioned celebrating turning 32, but that's how it unfolded. Let me provide some context first. I was raised in a modest, blue-collar household, worked tirelessly to get through engineering college with scholarships and side gigs, and launched my own technology firm in 2017. The initial 3 years were tough, living on instant noodles, crashing on pals' sofas, the typical startup struggle stereotype. However, toward the end of 2020, we created a cybersecurity tool that attracted big-name customers, and abruptly, finances ceased to be a worry. Not billionaire status, but sufficient that I don't glance at my balance before purchases. I continued driving my 2015 Honda and cycling through the same handful of casual tees because, truthfully, ostentatious items don't appeal to me. My folks taught me to prioritize stability over showy possessions. I'd prefer to allocate funds toward investments or memorable trips rather than flaunt luxury brands. I encountered Tiffany in early 2021 at a fundraising gala. She was employed by the charity organizing it, managing contributions, and appeared stunning in the process. What captivated me was her deep commitment to the youth education program they were supporting. She articulated passionately about providing chances for children from disadvantaged families. It struck a chord with me, having been one of those scholarship-dependent kids myself to complete university. We connected right away. She was attractive, certainly, but also genuinely engaged with my background and my firm's goals. The opening months of our relationship were wonderful. We engaged in profound discussions on topics ranging from societal disparities to technological advancements. She exposed me to galleries and upscale dining spots. I introduced her to my beloved budget eateries and sparked her interest in science fiction films. Roughly 6 months later, in autumn 2021, she confided that she was facing money troubles. Her charity role compensated poorly, and she was considering exiting the field to cover bills. It pained me deeply. Here was an individual dedicated to impactful work, potentially driven away by financial pressures. I proposed assisting with certain bills temporarily until the organization's next grant round, which promised her an increase. It began modestly, paying her vehicle installment 1 month when she fell short, assisting with housing costs after her flatmate abruptly left. All under the agreement that this was short-term aid to sustain her in the role she cherished. Then in spring 2022 arose a health concern. She had long felt self-conscious about her nasal structure, damaged in a teenage accident. Her insurance declined to cover the repair, labeling it elective. She experienced real discomfort, including breathing difficulties and recurring sinus issues. Witnessing her suffering, I volunteered to fund the procedure. It was an easy choice. I possessed the resources to aid someone dear to me. By mid-2022, her charity faced a major donor loss and reduced workforce. Tiffany was crushed. She temporarily relocated to my home during her search for new employment, and I assisted in securing a dependable vehicle since her previous one frequently failed amid job hunts. The agreement was under my name due to her lower credit rating, allowing superior terms. Once more, these felt like contributions to our shared future, not mere charity. I could manage it comfortably, and it appeared appropriate for a loved one navigating hardship. In early 2023, she secured a position at an advertising firm with higher compensation but diminished purpose. She expressed a desire for personal space once more, which made sense. Our cohabitation had stemmed from circumstance rather than preference. I aided in locating a pleasant residence, and as the owner needed stable income proof she lacked at the time, I co-guaranteed the contract. The plan was for me to contribute to payments until she stabilized in her role. Over time, however, I observed shifts. Tiffany spent increasing hours with a fresh circle of friends, mostly social media influencers with apparent endless funds for purchases. Her clothing evolved from practical workwear to high-end labels. She grew fixated on cultivating her online persona and tracking metrics like likes and follows. The meaningful talks on community issues faded, supplanted by chatter about audience growth and sponsorships. Initially, I rationalized her shopping as stemming from her better income, but the figures didn't align. When I softly inquired, She cited complimentary items from collaborations. Eventually, I learned she was accumulating debt to sustain the lifestyle. Yet I found justifications. She was adapting to a professional shift, building networks. Moreover, post-procedure and wardrobe refresh, she displayed greater assurance and joy. If my achievements enabled that, wasn't it positive? As time progressed, a peculiar pattern emerged where she would present me with costly presents. A luxury timepiece occasionally, a branded coat another time. Despite her own unstable finances, these seemed geared more toward her online narrative. My generous partner sporting the designer piece I gifted him, than my preferences. My birthday arrived recently, and Tiffany eagerly organized a grand gathering at a high-end location. I'm not fond of spotlight, but her enthusiasm for arranging it persuaded me. She blended invitations between my true companions and her influencer acquaintances. The event was opulent, far beyond my usual style, but enjoyable watching old uni-mates interact with colleagues and locals. Tiffany thrived as host, radiant in an outfit likely exceeding my home loan installment. Over the meal, a guest proposed a collective snapshot. We posed, and a longtime buddy captured multiple with my device. Reviewing them later, I found them excellent, joyful expressions, flattering light, ideal keepsake. I presented them to Tiffany, anticipating she'd request copies. Instead, she scowled and scrolled quickly. "I can't upload these," she murmured. "Why?" I queried. After a pause, she whispered, "Frankly, you seem somewhat underdressed beside me. Why not the designer coat I bought you rather than that aged jacket?" "It's awkward. The jacket was my cherished one, durable and cozy, owned for years. Not extravagant, but far from worn out. Crucially, it was a present from my family upon securing my initial engineering position. It held deep meaning. In that moment, something fractured within me. Years of subtle insights coalesced suddenly. This wasn't the partner I'd chosen. That version had been an illusion or perhaps a fleeting aspect of the individual before me. "Fine," I replied evenly. I then rose. The site featured a modest platform from the earlier live music. I approached, seized the mic, and tested it for attention. Conversations hushed. "Thank you all for attending tonight. Having you here together touches me profoundly." Glasses lifted, faces beamed. Tiffany appeared puzzled yet delighted, likely expecting praise for her hosting. "I'd like to share a brief timeline with everyone, a comparison of past and present." That afternoon, I'd inquired about the venue's projection capabilities for possible remarks. They demonstrated linking my phone, confirming functionality. I attached my device to the system. The backdrop screen activated with an image of Tiffany from our early days. Still lovely, but authentically so, imperfect nose, everyday attire, sincere grin. "This is the partner I fell for 2 years back," I stated. "Dedicated to educational equity, brimming with compassion and insight." I advanced to the next early shot. Tiffany at a community service day, in casual clothes, refurbishing a schoolroom in a needy district. "This is the individual who devoted weekends to improving learning environments for underserved youth, convinced every child merits an inspiring space." Tiffany's demeanor shifted to alarm. She advanced toward the platform. I proceeded displaying her dilapidated car with taped bumper. This was her vehicle. Not glamorous, but she took pride in purchasing it via her charity wage. Next, her modest prior dwelling with eclectic furnishings, and her living space shared with an unreliable roommate whom Tiffany often subsidized, believing in secure homes for all. At this point, Tiffany neared the stage, visibly enraged and humiliated. "Then the transformations occurred," I went on. I revealed post-operation images, luxury outfits, the fresh auto, her feeds boasting upscale items, portrayed as self-achieved via ambiguous ventures. Here she is today, elegant, fashionable in a fine home. And moments ago, she informed me she's ashamed to share images with me because I appear insufficiently wealthy beside her. The venue fell utterly quiet. Even Tiffany stood motionless. "The twist is, I financed everything. The procedure she described as medically necessary, $20,000. The vehicle payments, $800 monthly. The residence, $2,400. The garments, accessories, purses she promotes as proof of independent success. All supported by the man who supposedly seems too modest for her pictures." I paused the mic briefly, inhaled, and met her gaze. "I never regretted aiding you, Tiffany. What hurt was witnessing you evolve into someone ashamed to stand beside the provider of it all, because his attire lacks prestige for your online image." Utter stillness ensued. Guests avoided eye contact or stared in shock, glancing between us. This feels appropriate to declare our partnership concluded. The co-guaranteed residence? I'll notify the owner of my 30-day withdrawal as backer. The auto under my name must transfer to yours or return within that period. And this gathering, the final one I'll sponsor. Cheers to my birthday. I placed the mic down, descended the stage, and exited. My nearest friends swiftly joined, shielding me as we departed. Behind, whispers escalated to uproar. Outside, my uni buddy Pete shook his head. Man, that was simultaneously epic and devastating. You holding up? I wasn't, but recovery would come. Tiffany bombarded my phone for the following 2 days, sobbing regrets, angry blame, pleading negotiations. I blocked her on the 3rd. Via shared contacts, I learned she uploaded an emotional clip claiming financial control and public shaming by me. It garnered little support, particularly with attendees countering with eyewitness details. Returning home after a short stay elsewhere, I discovered she'd removed most belongings. She'd been dividing time between my house and hers lately, slowly transitioning as her job improved, so minimal remained. Nonetheless, I replaced locks precautiously and consulted my attorney for a document specifying disentanglement steps. 2 weeks passed. I've consulted legal counsel to fully separate finances. The building managers received notice of my guarantor removal intent, allowing Tiffany 30 days to independently qualify or secure another. I've coordinated with the auto dealer for transfer or return post the same window. I've updated passwords and credit alerts. The heartfelt recovery proves tougher. I repeatedly wonder how I overlooked warnings, how I framed aid as nurturing aspirations when it enabled her shift into someone who belittled me. The early Tiffany from those initial photos with natural features and true zeal for youth aid, I still long for her. But acceptance grows. She may never have been real or faded gradually. My pre-success friends have been outstanding, reminding me kindness isn't flawed, only misdirected here. They've stayed over, pulled me for drinks, listened endlessly. I'm posting this as a warning tale. Wealth alters dynamics oddly. Supporting a loved one doesn't make you weak. But when it fosters unilateral expectation, when gratitude morphs to shame over association, departure is essential, regardless of prior commitment. Finally, the charity where we met performs vital services. I've established ongoing corporate contributions anonymously. Their cause remains worthy despite one staffer's detour. Edit. Numerous inquiries and notes arrived. Here are clarifications on frequent points. Some ask if the exposure sought vengeance, perhaps partially. It arose from pent-up frustration over time. Not thrilled about the public aspect, but I defend the facts. Attendees merited truth about the situation. Others query initial financial aid. It wasn't purchasing loyalty. At start, it sustained passionate work in underpaid nonprofit. With my stability, aiding a partner's valued role seemed fitting. Issue wasn't aid, but her alteration. Regarding stored early photos, no premeditated dossier. Simply standard relationship snapshots on my device. The before-now disparity sharpened over time. Many shared analogous experiences of partners shifting with financial access. Sadly prevalent. Common red flag queries. Retrospectively, she lessened cause discussions, dismissed nonprofit era as roughing it. Subtle jabs at my style and ride, altered demeanor around influencer pals, prioritized lavish gifts over shared moments. For my fiscal well-being, stable. Expenses were affordable, not ultra-rich but unaffected long-term. Lastly, advice to seek financial equals, Mrs. Point. Economic alignment helps, but principles outweigh. Prefer modest means companion valuing authenticity over affluent one gauging by labels. Update. 4 months on, April 2024. Unexpected turns arise. Roughly a month post prior note, I got contact from Christina, director of Tiffany's former charity. Aware of events via networks, she confirmed ongoing donations unaffected. We met for discussion on future projects. Christina leads the group nearly a decade, rejecting high-pay offers for mission passion. Intelligent, committed, direct. A brief chat extended to hours on schooling equity, tech in low-resource areas, corporate impact beyond funds. We've dated 3 months now, vastly unlike with Tiffany. Christina, self-sufficient professionally, owns simple home, never critiques my car or clothes. Outings vary, nature walks, local happenings, home-cooked meals. When I proposed funding an unfunded initiative, she required proper nonprofit protocols. Clear boundaries, personal and organizational. Regarding Tiffany, she independently assumed residence payments via promotion. Vehicle returned unqualified for costs. Reports indicate she's with a small-screen celebrity. Her feeds show exotic trips, luxury acquisitions, funding sources unclear. I hope she fares well, but feel only release viewing them. The sentimental jacket remains in wardrobe. Wore it first outing with Christina, she praised it unknowingly. Sharing the tale later, she remarked memorably, "Reminders of origins are invaluable. No premium tag rivals that. Future uncertain, but foundation feels sturdy. Shared priorities, mutual autonomy, profound bond unrelated to possessions." Perhaps takeaway, ideal match requires no enhancement or upkeep. Simply appreciation as is. To all who supported amid this gratitude. Early post-split days were rougher than admitted. Community solidarity aided immensely. If this averts one overlooked warning for another, positive emerges.